Still sitting in a truck seat that's older than your favorite pair of work boots? Your back has been filing complaints for years. If your seat is worn out, sagging, or just plain uncomfortable, it's time for an upgrade. Head on over to seatspecialist.com. Check out their selection of quality replacement seats built to keep you comfortable mile after mile. And don't forget to use promo code TR10 4U to save 10% on your order. Seatspecialist.com, because a better ride starts with a better seat. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of That's Delivered. I'm your host, Trucking Ray, and I have an honor that I'm sitting down with someone who embodies the heart and grit of the trucking industry, Jacki Harren. Jacki has built an impressive career as a dedicated truck driver, a proud Teamster union member, and a leader in advocating for drivers across the country. He was named the Driver of the Month by Minnesota Trucking Association in 2022. And beyond that, he has been actively involved in national trucking initiatives, working alongside influential industry figures like Sean O'Brien. We're going to dive into Jesse's journey in trucking, his work in the union, and the biggest challenges facing the industry today, that what the future looks like for driving truck across America. So buckle up, because this is going to be a great conversation. All right. So how you doing today, Jacki?
Doing good, Ray. How are you?
All right. Glad to have you on the show, in the studio, actually. So
Thank you.
Yeah, glad you're able to join us right here in Minnesota studio in St. Paul. So you guys, you've been trucking for quite some time. It's quite the inspiring journey. We're going to dive into that. You know, your biggest work is what you've done in the trucking industry with the union. What inspired you to pursue a career in trucking, and how did your journey in the industry begin?
Well, my career started, after high school. I went in the military, so I was in the Army, in the reserves. And then my dad was a truck driver, and my brothers and my uncles. So my dad was a 46-year Teamster, Local 120. I had a brother at UPS. I had one at CF, Consolidated Freightways, now at Breakthrough Beverage. I had uncles at Hyman Freight, Raymond Freight, Super Value, Yellow, you name it. We kind of have family everywhere. What? Coca-Cola. Yeah. So it was kind of in my blood,
Nice.
And then my journey kind of began when I was 20. So 2 years out of high school, I knew I couldn't work at a factory. There's no way I could handle that. I'd rather be out on the open road, Kind of started out as working for like Wiseway hauling furniture. In high school I worked for Clean Coat Truck Wash, so I washed trucks. So I was around trucks pretty much all my life.
Nice. Wow. And that's definitely says a lot. I mean, you got a lot of people that support you in the industry, and a lot of people that you can rely on, family. I mean, even your biggest supporter here is with us right now. You have your wife with us, Jacki. So I appreciate you.
Yeah,
being here with us too.
I mean, you're gone on the road. It's important. Family life is important, but you gotta have somebody that supports you doing it, because you're gone a lot. I mean, if you're an owner operator, you're gone months at a time, weeks at a time. I tried to stay mostly union, just because the motto of 8 hours pay for 8 hours of work. You can have a family life, a home life outside of work. But somewhere along the line, I think that changed, like somewhere around the 90s.
Really? What makes you think it changed? What did you observe?
Well, because you're working more hours.
Yeah.
These companies push you more. They want more because they feel it's better to work you than have to hire somebody and pay the insurance and benefits on them.
Yeah, because as a member of the union, it works great for 8 hours of work.
Yeah. I mean, that's plenty. I mean, I just don't want to be there 14 hours a day.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. Um, it seems like less members that the company has to pay is almost better for the company because, yeah, he's like you said, it's less benefits. So they get a kickback for having more hours, and the members, it works better when the union has more members, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's just a different calculation, but it works better for the company with more hours.
Right.
Can you share your experiences as a truck driver and what some of the challenges you faced starting out? I know in the beginning things are different.
Well, starting out when you're young, a lot of these companies want you to be a certain age. Yeah, they have so many miles driving over the road, whether it be 500,000 or 100,000 miles, well, where are you going to get that? A lot of the union companies wouldn't give you a chance. So then you have to go out and drive somebody else's truck, and then you have interstate and then you have intrastate. So depending on your age, you can leave the state.
Yeah.
So, and then now, anymore, to go to get a license now, like me, I got kind of grandfathered in. I took it with a Frito-Lay fifth wheel trailer with one of them van front ends with automatic.
Yeah.
Now they have truck driving schools. But a lot of them are just fast tracking drivers through.
Huh.
There's short of drivers everywhere. So
Right.
Now they just kind of fast track them. At one point in my career, I was a driver trainer. And I had one person I had, name was Kyle, and he came out of truck driving school and he was going to take his test on a Monday. So I got in on a Saturday morning to help him out. And I had asked him, I said, just hook that tractor up to that trailer. I got to run inside, hand some paperwork in, I'll be right back. Well, it turns out I come out, he still wasn't hooked up. He was standing there, and I go, what's going on? He goes, they never showed us in truck driving school how to hook a trailer up.
Oh.
He said everything was already hooked. To me, wouldn't that be one of the first things you would learn is procedure of hooking up a trailer? Because if you might have to go somewhere and drop that trailer and then go hook another trailer, you should know what you're doing.
Right.
But like I said, they fast track everything. But like me, I mean, I was young. Nobody really wanted to give you a chance or a start. It was tough. I did some over the road stuff, which is, you're fresh out of high school and now you're going across the country, which is kind of scary. And now, even like today, now you got way more traffic out there. But, that's a challenge too. Most of these jobs are nighttime driving. It's. I mean, you really gotta know what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you just can't go, oh, I'm gonna go drive a truck. Well, are you gonna work days or are you gonna work nights? And over the years, I've transitioned from day to night, night to day. Well, that's really hard on your body. It's hard on your family life, and it's nerve wracking. It can be, and then you got winter, you got snow, you got ice, and no one can really tell you how to drive in that type of weather. You have to experience it, And I just tell new guys, hey, just drive it whatever you feel comfortable. They can't fire you for stopping or playing it safe. You just go and say, hey, I'm going to wait a couple hours, wait for the plows to come out or salt or whatever. I mean, so you're in charge of your own life. So, I mean, it's like, hey, if you're going to fire me because I pulled over, well, I guess so be it. I'll get a job somewhere else. All kinds of people are hired nowadays.
Yeah. I just think about a lot of those changes that happen over the years. I mean, you've probably seen quite a few things change. What has motivated you to stay in the profession, and what do you find most fulfilling about it?
Well, most fulfilling would be, I'm able to have a life, to be able to pay my bills, feed my family, enjoy time with my kids and my wife. You get somewhat normal weekends depending on when you work, but the understanding of the family and the kids are, there was a time where I didn't see a lot of my kids as events because I was gone working. I think I'm honoring them because I'm working, paying, putting food on the table, right? Most guys, that's what you want to do. But like I said, I go to work. I have a new job now. And every night before I get in my truck, when I pre-trip that truck, I'll stand at the front of that thing and I say a little prayer to myself, keep me safe while I get in this truck, give me good thoughts, keep my brain fresh, keep me, awake, and, do the best we can.
I like that. Knowing that you're not alone out there, looking to a higher power.
Right.
I mean, that's important. I think that's a good practice for any day, or anybody too. So sometimes we take it all for granted because just like that, it can be changed in the blink of an eye. Things can get bad real fast, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Yeah.
And motivation, or getting motivated, really is this Minnesota Truck Driving Championship, which I haven't been able to compete in the last 3 years, 2 years, 2 or 3 years. I mean, the one company I worked with, they closed, so we were out of work. And I went on to the next company. Well, they didn't get to compete because it's pretty expensive to get into the MTA, depending on your company. So now I'm at a new company that wants to get very involved in it. So hopefully, maybe this year, if I can't drive, I can help everybody and kind of train them and teach them what to expect, how to solve the problems. They have written tests, and you have a driving test, and you have a pre-trip inspection. And of course, when you're at work, you're out there 15, 20 minutes pre-tripping your stuff, where, the competition is sometimes 6, 7 minutes or 13 minutes.
You compete if you haven't been either accident free.
Yeah, and you have to be accident free for, a year.
Yeah.
Be driving for 11 months. And, you don't necessarily have to drive the class that you drive every day. You can pick whatever class you want, because the thing is, ultimately, is to win and go to nationals, wherever they may be. But this year they're in Minnesota, so they'll probably at the Minneapolis Convention Center.
Yeah, I got a chance to go and be a part of it last year. And it was nice just to be there. Almost felt like you were a winner already. Just being a part of being a safe driver, like I said, for a year. I mean, that's a great point, man. That's a celebration in itself. When you're out there, it's difficult to be safe. And it's hard to not get involved in any accidents, even if it's not your fault. So,
yeah, like I said, I got a good friend of mine, John Bumgarner. He was over 4 million miles safe driving.
Wow.
In his career. I worked with guys that got 3 million miles. I'm a 2.5 million mile driver myself. So to go out there, to run in these snowstorms or ice storms and, bad weather, rain, and then, when you look at how people drive today on their cell phones or whatever, not paying attention, the road ragers. I mean, it's surprising how many trucks a company can send on the road and not have an accident. You'd think there'd probably be 1 or 2 a day, but, the main thing is to stay focused. And I believe, the more you talk safety amongst your fellow employees and your fellow workers, the more you're going to pay attention when you're out there.
That's right.
Or you're going to see something you guys talked about and go, oh, yeah, you know what? I kind of remember that. Now, this is what I should do, right?
Right.
Now, I was in dispatch the other day, and I had where I'm at now, they got cheater chains, where you put on the turn and they just get you out of the parking lot, right?
Yeah.
Well, I told them the other day, I said, I haven't changed a truck in 36 years. Never have. And you're like, well, how's that possible? It's like, well, everybody knows if it's snowing that bad, you just don't stop.
Yeah.
You just plug along get as far as you can. And, most of the time you can run out of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah. But like where I worked, we ran turns and slip seats. So you always ran back through that same snowstorm coming home.
That's right.
So, but if you're running through somewhere like the different state, you can usually run out of it, down the road.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Sometimes the storm just follows you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's the worst.
You'll talk to somebody on the CB. Oh, yeah, it quit snowing 20 miles up the road, and you get there and it's snowing just as hard because it's following you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. So talk about memorable moments. I mean, those are some stories you probably got, right? Going through those snowstorms or seeing all kinds of stuff out there.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was a time I was involved, came on the scene of 2 accidents while I worked at Holland. It was in Wisconsin. A truck had pulled off the shoulder, no lights, and one of our trucks rear-ended him.
Oh.
And so back in them days, we ran 2-3 trucks anyway. Well, this was a Chicago driver. We were out of Minneapolis, but me and Ted Reeves came up on this truck sitting in the middle of the road, smashed up. It was one of ours. So we got out, checked on the driver, and then basically secured the scene and directed traffic until the state patrol got there. And then when the state patrol got there, he says, "Hey, what happened out here?" I said, "Well, this guy rented a truck. Well, where's the other truck?" Well, if you looked up the road about a mile or so, you could see it where it was just going around the curve and he pulled over. Well, the cop said, "Well, I'm going to go check on that driver. You guys stay here and keep what because we had our flashlights and vests on, right?"
Yeah.
He says, "You guys direct traffic until I get back." And of course, we're kind of looking at each other going, "Really? Is this legal?" But
yeah.
Nobody showed up yet. None of the other highway patrol or ambulances or whatever.
Right.
And, the thing about it is these highway patrolmen, they just kept pursuing to say, "Hey, did you fall asleep? Did you fall asleep? Did you fall asleep?" They kept asking that. It's like the guy's in shock. How do you expect to get an answer out of him when he's in shock, So that was the first one. And then there was another one where years later, I was working with a guy, and the accident I came upon was his dad. So another truck had rear-ended him. He was broke down on the side of the road. He had a big long-nosed Peterbilt, and he was in between the tires under the hood when he got hit. And that hood came down, and that truck spit him out the front of the truck, out the bumper. And the other truck was smashed up all the way to the passenger seat on the one side. And so there was one of our trucks, a flatbed, a dry van, and then 2 of us from Holland. So us guys from Holland, we just pulled out and blocked the highway so nobody could get around because, there was parts everywhere and product. And the only guy's phone that worked, because we're down in a little valley down there in Wisconsin.
Okay.
UPS driver. I said, "Hey, your phone works. Call 911.
Yeah.
So he did. And it was weird because the 2 owner-operators wouldn't get out and help.
Really?
Yeah, and they were right behind the accident. One crawled in his sleeper like he didn't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, wasn't no liability.
One guy gave me a blanket out of his truck.
Okay.
So we could cover up the one guy on the road, keep him warm. So them were about the only 2 really memorable accidents I think I was in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's some life-changing events there.
Yeah, it really kind of makes you wonder what was going on,
Right. Yeah, that's always the question, is trying to figure out, they start those investigations and trying to figure out what happened. I see you got that ring on. What's that all about there?
Well, this ring here I got?
Yeah.
That would be my 2 million mile ring I got for 2 million miles without an accident.
Wow.
How many years did it take you to get that?
Well, the company figures every 9 years you go a million miles. That's just some kind of math they use. If you think about it, when you're on the extra board at some of these companies like we ran, they figure anywhere from 150 to 160,000 miles a year.
Okay.
Other companies, you see city guys walking around with this similar stuff, and you're like going, "Yeah, right." Like you went a million miles in Burnsville, they probably got more miles backing up than I do, but
yeah.
But that's just some of the awards that these companies give. I mean, I got jackets, I got shirts, I got nameplates for your truck. A lot of companies don't have the same truck every day, but places I worked at, and I know like even Yellow, you always had a different truck every time you went out. But if you got a certain amount of miles, you get your own truck.
Yeah.
And then they letter it up with your name and whatever. And one guy even has his own trailer.
Really?
They had a trailer, pup trailer all done up.
Wow.
So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice accomplishments.
Right?
Pictures, right?
There you go.
Well, and I think where I'm at now, they call it the Circle of Honor.
Okay.
Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got to stay in the circle.
Exactly.
I mean, that's great. Rodeos and truck shows and stuff like that. I mean, you're involved in a lot of those rodeos. What do you have to say for individuals that are maybe a little hesitant about being in a rodeo maybe this year? That trying to get them to go out and compete, maybe a little hesitant, maybe a little shy. What would you say to them?
I would say just, trust your gut and go for it, because honestly, I get all the answers. I get all the same answers. Oh, I know I can drive. Oh, I know this. And I don't think I'd do well because, I get, I don't like people watching me. Well, if you think about it, you're a city driver. Okay, you're a city driver. You're backing into docks. You're backing into retail stores.
Right.
Just backing into malls, grocery stores. There's all kinds of people watching you. Right?
Right.
We have, so when you go to the rodeo, they have vendors there. They have a set of bleachers, for people to sit in. And then each company has their own tent, usually, where you can sit under, and, all the wives can talk, and safety people and management and whoever.
Right.
So honestly, when I drive, I don't even see anybody really. I kind of block them out.
Huh.
And my wife can contest that. She's sitting right next to me. I mean, she'll say, "Did you see me waving?" I said, "I don't even know where you were sitting."
Yeah.
And then the one year I did look, I think I had my window cracked down so I could hear them when I drove by.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's a great experience. I've been doing it since, I did it back in 1989 for Lakeville Motor Express, which they don't exist anymore. A friend of mine got me into it, and that was my first one. And then I didn't do it from 89. I think I got back into it in about 90 or 2000, 2001 or 6.
I
I got a shirt at home. I think it's 2006. That's a favorite one I wear all the time, right?
Yeah.
So I think it was 2006, and I've been kind of doing it every year since. And I was the only guy that did it at my company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes one guy.
And guys go, "Well, don't you have to practice?" Well, yeah, you should. But if you really think about it, you're practicing on the street every day.
Right.
The problems on our course is, you got to get as close as you can without hitting it. And of course, in real life, your boss wants you to stay as far away from something. So you're doing the exact opposite you do every day, but it's a controlled atmosphere. I mean, it's,
You can go as slow as you want.
yeah, you can go as slow as you want. I mean, you're timed on the course.
Okay.
And the only reason you're timed is because if it comes down to a tie, like you got the same score, they go to who ran the course the fastest.
Oh, I see.
But you know what? You just go out there, you take your time. If it's your first time, now they got Rookie of the Year too. So, I mean, if you do good on the written test and the pre-trip and driving, now they put you up for Rookie of the Year. And last year we had
one.
We had one at our company. And actually we had, and then he went to nationals too.
Wow.
That was Unify.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the year before that, we had one at Yellow, which was McCarty.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's there's prizes with that winning there, and then you go to nationals, and it kind of comes on whatever your company does for your people, But it's a how does my wife put it? It's a great big family.
Nice.
Everybody cheers the same for everybody. Union, non-union, that's not a factor there.
Yeah.
You're all one big family. And you know what? When I run down the road, it doesn't even matter. I'll pull over and just make sure the guy's okay, because if your truck's not running, it's 40 below out.
Yeah.
So
It can get real bad. You carry you do a little different than some drivers. You carry something with you, right? Just to make sure you get back home safe.
I carry a bag with all my winter survival. I get the guard shack, and he's like, "Is that big enough?" I said, "I hope so, but I hope I never have to use it either."
Yeah.
But I've had to use it in the past. Them trucks, they don't stay warm very long if they shut down.
So you carry a candle and a cup, right?
Candle, camping cup.
Yeah.
Because a candle, you can keep the heat in the truck, and then of course you carry your candy bars or whatever, because they'll last a little longer.
Nice. That's right. All right. Wow. A lot of great tips, a lot of great motivational things for people to think about for road. I mean, it's a big deal to be recognized for the skill and the things you do. I think it also helps along the road, even when you're not competing, to know that what you do matters out there on the road. So can you tell us about your involvement with Teamsters Union and how you got started with that?
Well, the Teamsters Union, that was, my dad's been a Teamster, like I said, for about 46 years. So for me, I can say we grew up union as kids. So do I really know what the other life is like? I don't know, because I've always had union life. We've always had the support of the union. Something happens, you got them fighting for you. They got your back.
The company goes down, they help you.
Yeah, if a union company gets shut down, they'll help you find another job. If you get hurt and you can't do your job or drive or whatever, they'll send you to school and for a different trade or different work.
Yeah.
When you're laid off, there's a food shelf.
Yep. And you got the Teamster food shelf. If you get laid off, if you got some medical issues, you can use the Teamster food shelf. So, that's all good stuff.
Nice. Yeah, that's good to know. So, has being part of the union impacted your career or your personal growth in any way?
Yeah, I after a good friend of mine got in the union, then we had a steward election and I won that. So I was a steward for, I want to say, about 15 years. Sound about right. And that is a job that's thankless. 1 minute you're a hero, 30 seconds you're a zero. And you're the go-between between the company and the employees. So you're a lawyer and a driver. You're doing the best you can because you got a full day, and then you got to come in and fight for what's right and stick up for these, everybody.
Yeah.
The same.
Always answering your phone?
Yeah, well, that's a little different. I'm going to tell you, every steward's a little different. Some guys go on vacation and they shut their phones off.
Yeah.
I unfortunately answered my phone all the time.
Yeah.
In the middle of dinner, family dinner.
Taking a nap.
Yeah, taking a nap. I'd still answer it. I was in my truck sleeping. I'd take, I always answered the phone,
What was that like for home life?
Well, here, my wife's right next to me. You want to say something, honey?
Yeah, Jesse being a steward, he would field a lot of questions. A lot of people who didn't know their contract or had a grievance and wanted to complain or whatever, they would call him and he would always answer the phone. And we would be sitting down for dinner and he'd answer it. He'd answer it every time. And there would be times when I would like put the timeout sign or wrap it up or whatever, because it did take away from family time, but he was, what I found is he was well respected for what's that? He was dedicated and well respected for what he did. But yeah, things, when things don't go well, they would call Jesse and he would calm them down, or he would, make sure that they knew what the contract was and what their rights were. So no, he just said it like it is. So, but yeah, no.
What was
he
it like for
a great
what was it
steward.
like for you to thinking about the wife of a truck driver? I mean, that's a story in itself.
Oh, I'm so proud of him. Yeah, I have a sticker on the back of my car and it says proud wife of a truck driver with a big truck, semi truck on it. Got it for my birthday one year from my kids. I asked for that. But no, I'm very proud of him. We do hold down the fort, as wives, and the camaraderie among truck drivers and truck driving families and truck driving wives, there's nothing like it. We are always like, if there's a snowstorm, we'll call each other saying, "Hey, did your husband come home? Is everybody safe over there?" On Facebook, we're always kind of, chatting about how life is, we have a sign in our house that says, "Don't wake the bear."
There you go.
Because he sleeps during the day. And if his friends come over to play with the kids, we just say, "Okay, you certainly can be here. We're happy to have you, but go in the basement and keep it down." And I have a sign. And if they're a little bit loud, I just quietly bring the sign and show it to them. It's like, "Okay, guys, keep it down." Yeah. So, we don't know anything different. 23 years of marriage, we just are so used to it. But when he's home, those weekends are sacred. Those days that he has off, family,
Nice.
So, yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
Proud to be a truck driver's wife.
I love it. I mean, I think that's a story that so many people can relate with. And there's so many families that are involved that know someone's a truck driver or that was raised by a truck driver. So, man, great job to you guys putting in their hard work. Thank you, guys.
I didn't always drive. I worked the city for a lot of years. Oh, sorry. So I ran the city. I worked in the city for a lot of years. I worked the freight docks. I kind of did it all. Worked the yards, drove a yard horse.
Nice.
So I learned all the aspects of the job, which is nice. I do miss. Like I told them guys, I was talking to a friend of mine last Friday night at work there, and I just said, "Yeah, I kind of miss the dock." I said, if they told me they had a forklift I could drive, I'd probably go do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He goes, "Yeah, you kind of always did like putting them trailers together, packing that freight in and stuff." So, I worked at companies where we were considered a velocity driver, where I'm a road driver, but yet I run down and unload my trailer and then reload it and then come back. And if I had hot freight, I'd deliver it on the way in because I knew the city guys couldn't unload the truck fast enough and get it back out. Kind of helps the company, I think as far as you go as a steward, you kind of need a guy that's kind of friendly with the company, but yet is all for the men. They got your back 110%.
Nice.
The thing of it is, if you got a guy that gets in good with the company, you're gonna get things solved maybe quicker.
Okay.
Because some of these grievances could take you out 3 months, and you're not working. So, and depending on the outcome, you might get your back pay. And what the outcome is, you may not.
Right.
So yeah, as far as all that goes, I mean, it's like I said, you're a hero or a zero.
Yeah.
And like I said, you gotta. A lot of the guys I worked with, I told it like it is. It's this is the way it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And my feeling is I can have an argument with you at work, walk out the door and go have breakfast with you and never talk about it. And that's what we kind of had where I worked before. You had some guys, well, how could you go out and have a breakfast with them after that? Well, that's not work.
Yeah.
Work is work. And then when I leave outside the door, that's different.
Yeah.
Unless I get the phone call at home or whatever, then you try to help as best as you can.
Yeah. You got to be able to resolve these issues without taking it personal. I mean, I think that's a huge skill in itself. Some people may struggle with it, but it's something you can develop over time because it's for the greater good. It's looking for make sure that all works out, right? It's supposed to be a union. You're supposed to be able to get along with each other to a certain extent, right?
All right. Teamster. We're a team. We're all doing the same job. We're doing the same work.
Yeah.
Help a brother out or sister.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. Are there any specific union initiatives or movements, I guess, or moments of advocacy that you're particularly proud of?
Well, I think, as far as when you're union, you talk about the organizers. Where I came from, we have organizers, but really everybody's an organizer. You as a driver see the other competition on the street. You go into these other buildings that might be trying to negotiate something. You're the advocate. We are all organizers. I know a lot of guys won't talk to other guys on the street or whatever, but the greater good of things, everybody kind of has to be an organizer.
Okay.
Can't just leave it up to the guys at the local, because you're the ones giving them the leads. Hey, check this company out. I talked to these guys. And the best thing to do is get the phone number. If you're talking to a guy and they're serious, you want to get a phone number so that way you can give that to your local. They can be, contact somebody, And these companies nowadays, they can't do nothing to you if you're talking about it, A lot of them say, "Oh, we're going to fire you," this and that. They, by law, cannot do that.
Why would they even say that anyway?
Well, because they don't want to be. They want to reap all the rewards for themselves. It's big business. I mean, you see Sean O'Brien talking about it all the time with these big companies. They want to hoard the money for themselves.
Yeah.
They get rich off the people that are doing the work.
I just don't feel like that gets you where you need to be in life. I think it puts you back. Money's not everything. So I feel like they kind of lose a little bit when they do that internally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I said, I did the a little bit of organizing over there. I was in the local 120 for 36 years. So, I did some organizing over there with them guys. I drove the Teamster truck to different events. The one event I liked the most was the Special Olympics convoy we did every year.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
That's usually in October.
People don't know about that.
That's usually in October, the first week in October, on the 5th of October. Companies can pay, they can donate as much as they want, but $500 gets you 5 trucks. Or you can bring 5 of your company's trucks for like $500. And usually, they want you to be able to take Olympian with you from Special Olympics, but sometimes companies don't allow passengers in their vehicles, but you can still go on a convoy, and they usually meet up at Running Aces, and then they run up to Harris, Minnesota, and then they make a U-turn and come back, and then they have a luncheon. Hold on, my wife wants to talk.
Go ahead.
This is a really cool event that fundraises for the Special Olympics of Minnesota. And the really cool thing about it is you have this parking lot filled with trucks, and they're blowing their horns, and it's just really like an amazing event. And then they have this long line of trucks. They call it a convoy for a reason. You look in that rearview mirror and you see trucks for as far as the eye can see. And you go around a corner and you could it's even more spectacular. And they have the sheriff department from several different counties come, and they are blocking all the entrances to 35W so that people cannot get on. It's like blocked so that it's just the convoy. And then when you turn around, that's when you see all the trucks go by. Like you just see them all go by one. And I tell you, it's really an honor and a privilege to be a part of that. It's really amazing. And seeing the faces of the Special Olympians. And then as you go by, there's people at the overpasses holding flags and holding thank you signs from Special Olympics and from the communities around the area. And so everywhere you look, there's people waving. and honking and asking you to honk. It's just really fun.
Awesome.
So we look forward to that every year, and it keeps building. Like more and more companies hear about it and learn about it, and they bring their trucks and they bring their funds with it. And it's just a really grand time. And if you can get an Olympian in your truck, that's even better. Like, it's so much
cool.
fun.
That's
so
awesome.
That's the Special Olympics convoy. Begins at Running Aces, goes to Harris, and then comes on back. And then there's styling auctions. There's just all kinds of really fun activities that go along with it.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean,
And to go back to the rodeo, that's MTA is for the whole state of Minnesota. So any company that becomes an MTA member in Minnesota can send their drivers.
nice. I mean, just the fact to be able to give back in that way, it's that's huge. I mean, it's for the community, for so many people that don't know about the Special Olympics. That'd be a great place to show up and also show their support as well. Yeah, great job, man. Thanks for mentioning
it. For company recognition too, because I mean, you go on the website and you got all the video and all that, so it's pretty good publicity for your company also.
Nice. That's a good motivator as well. Well, looks like congratulations is in order. I mean, you're named Minnesota Trucking Association Driver of the Month in 2022. What did that recognition mean to you? I mean, what helped after that for you and in your life?
Well, that was a little bit of a surprise. I was told I was put in for it, and then they picked drivers, I believe, based on their portfolio, right? I had quite the portfolio, evidently. So yeah, I was picked for November of 2022 Minnesota Trucking Association Driver of the Month.
Nice.
And like I said, I guess the real honor with that is to me, everybody should have one that, because our job is that difficult. I mean, it's pretty stressful, long hours. I just see a thing that says, I have a 70-hour work week. And how'd that go? Something about, and you have 40-hour work week? Boo-hoo. But, we're out, like I said, we're out there in the element. We are in the snow. We are in the ice. We are hot. I mean, there's no break for us. It's just a constant grind. And so, it was a little disheartening. I didn't get driver of the year, but, I belong to a club, the Matrix Club, which is the past champions of the Minnesota Truck Driving Championships. And, you go there and it's surprising at how many drivers are drivers of the month or even driver of the year in the club.
Wow.
Because it's basically your company's safety department that kind of puts you up for it.
Okay.
So it kind of helps if your company's a little more involved.
I like it. Yeah.
Like I said, I got a plaque, got a jacket.
Okay.
We got a dinner. It was good. It was
You were written up in the magazine.
Yeah, I was written up in Minnesota Trucking Association.
Yeah,
magazine.
yeah, you showed me that. Yeah, you got a news article, right?
Yeah,
in the magazine.
Yep. And then the thing about the rodeo, when I ended up going to nationals and I got that driver of the month thing. When I got back, I was actually driving down the road one day and my cousin called me and said, "Hey, my son called me and says you're on the internet." Yeah, transport topics, but in Minnesota here they have your third party logistics. Okay. So I was on their website and they were using it as like, hey, these are the kind of drivers we call to haul your freight.
Oh yeah.
So, to find out from my cousin that his son works at a one of these third party shipping places, and they have me on their website. Just really floored me.
Okay. How about that?
So, that's been, I was at a couple of them. I heard that from a couple of people. Like, hey, I seen on the website at this company that says this is the kind of driver they hire,
What do you think sets you apart to earn the honor, to get those awards and those recognition, maybe help other drivers that could reach out or to expand their career in that area?
Well, I think a lot of that, I was over 2 million miles accident free. Well, I had
You're safety minded.
I never got a scale ticket. Never
Okay.
got a violation. When you give you, you go into the scale and they inspect you in that. I mean, they check all that stuff. And
Yeah.
I have, in all my years, I haven't got any violations, haven't had any accidents. I think that all accounts for it.
Yeah, it's a celebration.
Do the rodeo, do the, I do the Special Olympics.
Yeah.
So I do other things outside of work for the public.
Yeah, you embodied the truck driver, a great
Mhm.
example. So not just at work, but also outside of it as well.
Well, yeah. Then along with the rodeo, like with National, that you can sign up to be an America's Road Team captain, which then you go out and you're a spokesperson then for the trucking community,
right?
Where you go do engagements all over the country, or you might run out and pick up the ATA truck in Oregon and drive it down to Louisville, stuff like that. Yep. Then you go there, truck driving competitions. You go to other truck competitions all over the country, and it's paid. Your company still pays you while you're gone. So you got speaking engagements all over, or you're just helping out, or, with your industry, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, those are great things.
Fighting them autonomous trucks.
Yeah, I mean, those are definitely something that you got to watch out for. Those awards and those achievements they accomplish, those accomplishments also speaks to who you are as well. So being a positive individual about trucking, knowing that you can make a difference, I think does show through on who you are as well. So those awards come along with just being a great person through and through. So that's good, man. That's real good.
It didn't go to my head. Let's put it that way.
You say what now?
I said it didn't go to my head.
Yeah.
I'm still the same guy I was yesterday or the day before. I mean,
yeah,
it's a great honor, and it's a good honor,
Yeah. Well, I think you built something, and it's good to see something that you build come out to do something positive and also help other people to see that. So it's something to be proud of. You got to be proud of the hard work you do. So yeah, absolutely. So you're also involved in national initiatives. Can you share a little bit more about those roles, maybe on a national level?
National level.
Because I understand you work with Sean O'Brien at some time. You had a relationship with him and impactful projects.
He came up to 120 there. So we were down at the strike down there at the refinery.
All right.
So he showed up to that, and then he talked to the guys on strike, and then the guys were there, and then kind of hang out a little bit afterwards and that. And he's just a regular guy, just like everybody else. Wants to get the message out and get the word out on teams. The Teamsters.
Yeah. What do you have to say about that? The message that he has to say, and that he's trying to get the word out. What would you like to add to that?
Well, the thing of it is we as employees are the union. It's your contract is what your fellow employees want. It's not them dictating what you're going to get. It's you come together as a group, a family, and you negotiate what you want from the company, and they're just there along to help you along the way. Like I said, the seniority aspect, like of these jobs, where somebody doesn't get, some companies might give somebody special preference for some reason, and he might be junior. In my mind, you're junior, and then why is he getting that when I'm actually been here the longest or whatever? We all understand there's a culture. It's you follow suit. And honestly, in my mind is if you take care of the junior man, the senior man is automatically taken care of. A lot of people don't see it that way.
Give them a little more insight.
Well,
Tell
like I
them
said,
how they could understand that.
you protect the junior guys.
Yeah.
The senior guys protected. They already got everything, but you protect us guys on the bottom. We're coming up in seniority. I mean, you're gonna retire someday, right? You don't want to. What do you call it?
It's a culture of taking care of everyone.
Yeah, it's a culture to take care of everybody. It's not individualism. Me,
Yeah.
It's
kind of
unified.
thing. You're unified. You stand as one. You negotiate at one. You're all in the same business. You're all doing the same job.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of individual work that's being done, and people kind of look after themselves and try to bring that into a union that doesn't necessarily work as well, does it?
Well, you might have been there 30 years, and I come in and I only got 2 years. But I'm getting paid the same money as you are.
Yeah.
We're doing the same job. It's the senior guy's job to educate the junior guys. And I think that goes whether you're union or non-union. That's in every company. Educate your people. You take care of the guys at the bottom, they're going to take care of you guys on the top.
Yeah, there you go. I like it. It just works that way. It's more like fundamentals and good practices. Maybe even just a good human way of treating each other. So
Builds camaraderie.
yeah. Yep, absolutely. Right. Yeah. All right. Wow. So as for the future, what goals or milestones are you looking forward to in your career? Looking ahead, what do you expect?
Well, looking ahead, I'm just, I'd like to retire someday, just like everybody else. But, milestone, I mean, I'll have about 46 years in the union when I retire, just like my dad had. To me, that's a privilege and an honor to have alongside him. I got my brothers. I got one brother; he's still working. My other brother retired early. He's out living the good life. So, I look forward to being able to hang out with them guys when it's done.
Yeah.
Because we all worked as kind of the same job. We're all truck drivers. We all had the weird hours. So. It's kind of like you go to places and you're like, well, what are you doing awake? You just got off work, didn't you? Well, yeah, but I got, my son's doing this or my daughter's doing that. You make do. You make it work.
Yeah.
I'm not always the happiest guy when I don't have sleep.
Yeah. The bear, right?
And if I didn't get enough sleep, that's get out of the way, But, every time I go to work, I'm smiling,
Yeah.
And I always, guys would always say, what are you smiling about? And I'm like, you tell me a job, or I can go to work and hang out with my buddies and talk on the phone all night while I'm doing my job. Where are you going to do that at?
Yeah. You even get the window office.
But, it's good. The thing of it is, I think what makes the companies are the people. There's good companies out there, but the companies I work for, I miss the people I worked with, the fellow drivers, because, like I said, I left the company. One company shut down. I went to a company where I knew the guys. So that was okay. I got in there, kind of changed the culture at that company where everybody started to get along a little better. Well, and then I left there. I went to this really huge company.
Yeah.
Which, you're like, it's like leaving middle school to go to high school. You're not the big fish in the pond anymore. You're at the bottom, and it's, like I said, it's camaraderie is everything.
There you go. Awesome. So I see good things in the future for you. I see good things for unions. If we just do what we have to do, those grassroots, the work that we need to do to stick together and be there for each other, the camaraderie will all just come together. So,
like I said, I was at 120 for 36 years. So now if I could be in local 638 for the next 10 years, that'll be my 46 years.
There you go. Yeah.
Of course, everybody wants to retire early. So I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You know,
That's good, man. Awesome. So, man, I appreciate Jacki, and appreciate you too, Jesse, coming on here. That you guys have put on a great show. There's plenty of things that are going to happen in the future. I see it happening. We got to think good things, right? So, like you said, those improvements that we can do with each other is going to help out just for everybody, because trucking encompasses so much in the industry. What do you see the trucking industry doing as a whole? What do you see there?
well, I see them fighting them autonomous trucks. Really, I don't know how they think that's going to even. I know they have them out there.
Yeah,
I think they're down in Arizona or Colorado area,
I think Texas,
Arizona.
yeah,
Right. But how's that going to work in the wintertime?
yeah,
How's that going to work going down the mountain?
yeah.
And I think if they do somehow figure this out, you're still going to have a hub outside of every major city where you have drivers when these things come in, because there ain't no way you're going to drive them into a city.
Yeah.
And who's going to load it?
Yeah.
You have to have a driver unload it, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to have it reloaded and then bring it back out. I just don't understand why they all think that this is just a great thing. I mean, between Truck and Ray and me, you really think that computer, that thing on the front of your tractor, that you think that's really safe when it's giving the wrong signals and messages to the truck and it's locking the brakes up?
Yeah, it already does the ghost braking, right?
Yep.
People are like, what's ghost braking? Like, well, somebody hit it. It wasn't me.
Right. And then when you try to explain it to the company, they just think you're lying.
Yeah.
They think you just hit it. And the arguments that we've had at other companies been at, it's like, hey, you're going down the road because I hit a deer one time. They put a new computer on the front or radar.
Yeah.
They never aligned it.
Uh-oh.
Right. So it was everything on the left side of my truck, it was locking the brakes up for, and anything on the right side, nothing. It just kept on going.
Wow.
Now, if you guys think it's smart to have this thing operating at 80,000 pound vehicle, I just don't get that. It must be the same people putting in the super safe roundabouts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about all the money that they're putting in that. They could actually probably pay the drivers or pay people a little better.
Well, did they say with some of the trucks, they'd have a driver in there sitting behind the wheel, but the truck's driving itself.
Yeah.
Well, what's the driver doing? Taking a nap or reading a magazine? And by the time something happens, it's too late.
Yeah, it's too late. Yeah, you got less than a second a lot of times for these decisions.
But that's, like I said, these roundabouts.
Where's the safety in that?
They don't make these roundabouts for trucks. And yet they expect us to, maneuver them.
Yeah.
Although trucks do have the right of way in them. I don't know if people know that, but, there's signs at some of them say trucks have the right of way. Yeah. And yet, because they're disgruntled, because they're trying to get home from work, and they try and pass you in there, and you're like going, well, you're not going to get around me, Yeah. And that's where your accidents come from. Just senseless driving from other drivers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't get it. It's going to be a topic for a long time. The money, the time, like I said, then they have to get rid of the roundabouts to bring in the autonomous.
Yeah, right. You're going to get stuck in a roundabout and keep going around.
Oh, wow. Hey, it gives us something to talk about, something that we can also start the conversation about working what we got right now and making what we have work or make it even better. So, I really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your wealth of your knowledge. And hopefully that'll inspire more people to get involved in rodeos and get more people involved in just the community of a union or at their company to be the best employee they could be or best driver. So,
like I said, that rodeo, I learned something new every year.
Wow.
Whether it's from other drivers. I mean, the course is set up by what used to be set up by one of our guys, and he's won the national championship. Grand champion at nationals 13 times, was it?
Well, he ran grand champion. He was first. He was first in his class 13 times at the state level.
Oh.
And he was a grand champion at the national level.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's better than all 52 states, all the champions at all 52 states.
Yeah, and you got to figure out when you're running a class at nationals, you got 50 guys because there's 50 states.
Yeah.
In your class.
Yeah.
To come out and be, that's a
big deal.
That's a great honor.
Yeah. Huge. Yeah. Wow. So that's just to wrap things up. Jesse, it's been an incredible conversation. Your dedication in the truck industry, your advocacy that you've done, your leadership within the union is truly inspiring. Also, the support you receive from your loved ones, your family. Really appreciate you also, Jacki. You have done an amazing job at being there. Man, it doesn't take one person. It takes a team. It takes a whole community to get things going. And a lot of people play a part in keeping a truck driver on the road. So before we wrap it up, where can people find you or get in contact or maybe even follow your work? Are you out there on the social media, or are you kind of just hanging out at the union shop?
I'm laying in the weeds.
Yeah.
I'm trying to coast through, I help guys out from time to time. And that hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Like I said, you got an issue, or if you don't even, if you're at a union shop and you don't know who your steward is or your committee man, make sure you seek them out and find them.
There you go.
Or if you are a committee man or steward, seek out the new guys right away. Introduce yourself, give the phone numbers. You got a problem, contact Ray. Don't call me. Contact this guy. Don't call me. Whatever.
Yeah.
However you want to do it. But, you should seek out your stewards. You got any problem, any questions, they should be able to answer them.
Yeah. Should be available.
Because, you may go to the company and get a different answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and like I said,
that's a whole nother episode.
But that's just even like non-union. You got a question, go ask somebody that knows. Go ask another fellow employee, Yeah. Stick together.
Absolutely. That's it. Stick together. I think that's to be the main thing that we take away from this show. We really appreciate you sticking in there and all those years. I mean, you've been driving, and we love the accolades that you have. Hey, man, show them off. Hey, you worked hard for them.
Yeah, but I work at a place where I can't wear none of that stuff.
We'll see what we can do about that. We can try to fix that, some of those things.
We're working on it, right?
All right, folks, we'll wrap it up another episode of That's Delivered. And that was an episode with Jesse Harren. And we appreciate everything he has to say. We appreciate this. If you guys share it with your friends, talk amongst yourselves. If you have a review, we'd love to hear from you as well. If you have any show ideas or want to be on the show, we would love to have you as well. So share it with your fellow drivers. Keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay safe on the road. Keep advocating for what's right, and always keep on trucking.
Are you a trucker looking for a safe and reliable place to park? Look no further than Truck Parking Club. With locations across the country, we've got the perfect spot waiting for you, whether it's daily or long-term parking. And right now, use promo code DELIVERED at checkout for an exclusive discount. Reserve your spot today at truckparkingclub.com and drive stress-free, knowing your parking is covered.